What's going on, fam? What's going on? I'm Jaye the Black. Salute to everybody that's tuning in. We're going to talk about this article. Well, this is a plethora of them, but mainly we're going to focus on Toni Braxton and what she had to say about how she regrets that she did not get it in when she was younger. Now, those of you who know who she is may or may not, she was a big deal in the 90s, an R&B singer. You know, she's been in the spotlight for a long time. Now, I could see this coming. You can see from some of her posts that she's posted that she is about that attention getting. Okay. But also she has new music that she's putting out. And the interview that she did with The Guardian, this is her tweet, she retweeted it, which means that she is proud to be honest about how she feels about not getting it in when she was younger. Now, I want y'all to understand something. This isn't just, relegated to Toni Braxton. There's a lot of women who I would say are in their late 30s, early 40s, even in their 50s, who didn't have social media when they were younger, like when they were teenagers or in their early 20s, when they were in their physical prime. And not to say Toni Braxton's ugly, she's not. She definitely looks good for her age. She's 52 years old, okay? But when they were in their prime, as far as the market is concerned, they didn't have social media. They didn't have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, especially Instagram. They didn't have that. But now, because they have it, they see this as an opportunity to get the type of attention they never really gotten. Even though Toni Braxton was in the music industry since the 90s. But she probably did not have the phase, go through that. Maybe she did. But publicly, she didn't really go through that phase that she may have wanted to. She see all these other females, right? Who's getting all this attention, who's dating these rappers and dating these athletes. They're getting on social media and they're just so obsessed with getting attention. She wants to be that. Toni Braxton wants to get in on the action. That's why she's saying this. But let's get to this article. It says singer Toni Braxton has one regret: not partying and fooling around more when she was younger. I regret not having more relations when I was younger, Braxton told The Guardian. I should have drank more. I should have partied more, smoked more, even. I think my religious upbringing stopped me doing a lot of things that I should have done. It's not a good look at the age I am now, which means that she must be doing more partying, more thotting. She might be getting it in now. Toni might be getting it in right now. Maybe she's feeling a little ashamed at the age that she's at, that she's doing what she's doing now, when she should have done that when she was younger, like in her 20s. And I want y'all to understand that a lot of women feel this way. This ain't just Toni Braxton. There are a lot of other women who feel this way. You have the girls who grew up in strict religious households who carry over those values into their adult life. Then they get to an age where they feel like they did not live as much as they wanted to. That's why I say, man, a lot of these women sometimes need to go through that phase, especially before they get into a serious relationship. Now, Toni Braxton was married before. She was married before for a while, and she does have 2 kids. And she was recently engaged to Birdman. But I think Toni Braxton is saying publicly what a lot of women are saying privately. They're not going to say it publicly because they don't want to be looked upon, as a thot or slur. They want to be looked upon as dateable. Even though some women don't care, they're going to do whatever they have to get the attention that they want. They're going to live their life the way that they want to without shame. But the thing is this. You have women, right, who privately feel this way. They're doing these things, but publicly they will shame other women for their lifestyle choices. Meanwhile, they're living that life. And see, I'm not a judgmental person, but I call a spade a spade. If you say one thing, do another. If you want a good, decent man, then you have to do the things necessary in order to get that man. You know? And if you're not able to get that man, you cannot blame all men for why you struggle to get the type of men, the high valued men that you want. It says, the way that it works, you do that stuff in your 20s and 30s, and then in your 40s, you've earned enough to pay for therapy. See, that's the thing that people aren't talking about, man. You have a lot of women, man. They go through these phases, and it ain't just a 2-3 year phase. I mean, you got chicks, man. They've been screwing around for like decades. They've been screwing around in their 20s, in their 30s, in their 40s. Some of these women in their 50s still getting it in, still dating men that ain't shit. Okay. They still fighting over the same dudes that other women are with, and they have never matured. Even though they say women mature faster than men, there's a lot of women who they have not matured. They have not matured. And I do think that at some point you got to get out these streets. At some point you got to get out the streets, and you got to settle and work on finding something long term. But a lot of women don't have that mindset these days. And Toni Braxton is exposing that. Toni Braxton is exposing the fact that you have a lot of women out here who do need therapy because they've been in the streets for so long. They don't know what a real relationship is. They have not gotten out of that phase. And I think a lot of us know who they are. Braxton grew up in several religions, all of which locked down on premarital relations. When I was 7, my family became very religious. Braxton told the paper, "We were Jehovah's Witnesses, we were Catholic, we tried everything before settling on United Methodist. I asked my mom once what they were searching for, and she just replied, it was the 70s. The 70s was a very religious era." Really? I thought that was like the free love and do whatever era. But anyway, I think a lot of people are looking for the right path. I think a lot of people nowadays are still looking for the right path. The singer doesn't subscribe to any religion now, but adds, "I wouldn't say I was religious, but I am spiritual. I believe in a greater force." I think that's where I would say I'm in that way, because I grew up with the religious parent, and growing up I just more and more thought for myself. This was when I was in my teens, you know. I wasn't an atheist. I don't really, because I do think you should believe in something instead of nothing, but there are people who believe in nothing, and that's their right. But we all want to be able to work towards being a better us. And I think that's what the definition of spiritual, for me is looking at something and aspiring to be that greater good, so to speak, In the interview, Braxton described the unbelievable way she was discovered as a talent. "I was in college, and one day I was at a gas station singing to myself while I filled the car." Braxton, whose latest album, Spell My Name, is out now. Promotion. The attendant William, writer of Girl You Know It's True by Milli Vanilli, comes up to me and tells me he likes my voice and that he'd like to do some demos with me. I thought it was just a line, but I went with it, and here I am. He went on to buy the gas station. Braxton realizes the story sounds like a Hollywood myth. "Nobody believes how I was discovered," she says. "They think it's a story or publicity, but it's absolutely true." It could very well be true. We've heard some stories. See, that was in what, the 90s? That was a different era, man. They were looking for talent everywhere. Now these guys are lazy. Okay. These record labels are lazy. They look for their talent on YouTube, or they look for it on Instagram. That's where they're looking for talent at. If you go viral singing, you're going to have a deal. Okay. But This just shows y'all that she's basically blowing the lid off of the Nawalts. She's blowing the lid off the women who claim to be good, that they ain't out here getting it in. They either want to get it in or they ain't got it in. And I say this, man, and people may think I'm crazy, right? I think women, I think these women, right, who always want to be around dudes, they'll have a whole boyfriend or husband at home, but they constantly want male attention. It's because they're so used to just dealing with different men and dealing with a bunch of men. Even when they are wifed up, they will still seek the validation of being around other men. And also what you have to look at is a lot of these women, when they're older, they want to compete with these younger women. They see these younger women who are getting attention, and again, they're dating rappers and athletes. They want that lifestyle. Toni Braxton wants that lifestyle. That's why some of the biggest slurs out there came from religious households, or they went to religious schooling. And when they get older, they just go crazy, especially if they are attractive. Because you got the girls, right, that they weren't attractive growing up. Okay, they weren't attractive growing up. They weren't seen as attractive, but once they get older and they get more comfortable with their bodies, they're all over social media. You know, look at the girls that are all of a sudden Insta models. If you were to ask a lot of those girls, they would tell you that they weren't considered attractive when they were in high school. Boys didn't really like them like that. They came from religious households. But when they got older, they just went crazy because they were out on their own and it felt like they have something to prove. And I'm telling you right now, social media is a self-esteem booster for a lot of these women, man. It's a self-esteem booster. And it's no different with Toni Braxton. Toni Braxton is basically saying out loud what a lot of other women her age are thinking. A lot of these older women who settled down, married young, was religious, they want to do what a lot of these younger women are doing, but they don't want the stigma of being a thought. And I would tell these women this: live your life the way that you want to. If you're single and you want to date, do what you want to do. Just be honest and say, I don't want a relationship, because a lot of men nowadays are saying they don't want a relationship. So I think if you are a woman and you want to be in these streets, just be honest. Don't be in these streets and then talking about you want a good man, talking about you want a religious man, you want a man of God, a man of faith, but you out here in these streets. That's the only thing I'm saying. Just be honest. Y'all want us to be honest? Like, if we're approaching you and we want to holler at you, you say we should be honest and don't play around, then you should be honest too. If you want to approach a guy just to have relations with, just to kick it with, then just do that. Don't play these games about how, oh, I don't do that, I'm looking for a long-term relationship, when you're not. Okay? Because you basically are going to end up ruining what you have. Because you have women who are out here on social media dating guys, getting engaged to guys, marrying guys, when they know full and well that they are not done with the streets. They still in these streets and they ain't going nowhere.